Let's do it.
Well. See, from last week's episode to this week's episode, we never guaranteed we would be on at 1 o'clock time.
Estimates, that's all they are.
We knew that there was a good probability that this wasn't going to happen at 1 o'clock. But I'm happy though, because we got it at 1:30. That's technical difficulties. Technical difficulties and all that.
And honestly, I think that's just like what it was. Last week when we had our podcast, there was a couple of just like audio issues and stuff, and so I'm really hoping that it's working. We got them sorted out for the time being, but I don't know. I think I sound a little bit better. What do you think? Can you hear me?
Yeah, which is the main thing. We wanted to be able to hear you because we got a lot of comments saying, "Hey, it was great, but we can't hear you." So now we can hear you. I will say, so we're doing a little bit differently this week. Usually we are together. We're in my garage. We ran into some audio issues that we're going to resolve this upcoming week to get you back in the garage. In the meantime, you are going live at your home, and so we can't really make a drink per se like we did last week, which is what our goal is, to make a drink every week and try it. But this week, you have your drink, I have my drink.
Well, hold on now. What if I just tell you how to make it and then you make it on stream? That way we kind of keep it going. I think that'd be kind of fun.
See, I can do that. Now, I cheated a little bit. And I made it already, but I don't think I made it necessarily correctly. So I can drink this because I do got ice here on the side, and I have all of the drinks, all of the information I need, or all the drinks here. So so what we're making here is some Bombay Sapphire gin. We have some lemon juice, which is what this drink calls for, along with some tonic water, right? And the last little bit we have is the grenadine that Caleb so graciously decided to get a larger than life size of grenadine. So
pony keg. Well, you were threatening me with
Marcellino
the cherries.
Maraschino. He said the cherries.
You're threatening me with cherries, bro. I don't.
I can't. The cherries.
So, yeah, I had to come through. But so I mean, as far as I am, fortunately, all of the fine delicacies are outrageous. So I'm just gonna keep it tried and true with some proper whiskey. So, that's what I'm doing. But I think that'd be kind of fun if you made your own, bro.
I can do that here. Let me finish this one here, and we'll circle back to it. Maybe you can explain it a little bit better than how I read it. The maraschino cherries are not the best, Julia. I don't know. I haven't had them, but Caleb has a very strong disdain for them.
I just don't like cherries. Like, actually, fun fact. Did you know? Okay, walk with me on this. Did you know that if you ground up and ate the pits of 2 cherries, they contain enough cyanide to take you out? Like, why would you want to eat something that encases such evil? Like, what? No. So
now I don't know if that's true or not, but I guess that's if you. So you're saying the pits of the cherries, if you grind them up and just eat them, or what do you have to do? Why?
Yeah.
Why grinding them up? Why do you have to grind them up?
You just have to break it down,
and it releases.
But consult the oracle at some point. I'm pretty sure it's only 2. It's a really foul amount, and I don't know why they have to be just like broken down in such a small scale. But yeah,
Hold on, I'm gonna see. The first thing I typed in toxic M, and it came up mararachinos. So
okay,
let me read this. Maraschino cherries are artificially dyed with red 40, make them very bright red. This dye contains small amounts of the known of carcinogen, right?
carcinogens. Yeah.
Carcinogen benzidine, 34 and 35. Observation studies that people exposed to benzidine have a higher risk of bladder cancer.
Okay, move past the dyes. We need to go to the little guys in the middle.
The little guys in the middle. Let's see here. Are preserved with formaldehyde. There's absolutely no formaldehyde I use to make maraschino cherries. Okay, so that's not true. That's not true. The pits. Why maraschino cherries can actually be deadly. See, this is
We could just do a whole podcast on cherries.
on cherries. Does that change your opinion on cherries now? I mean, what if you accidentally eat them?
No, maybe your body like can't break them down unless like digest them properly, so they just kind of go through as a little cherry pit, and that's why they're so toxic because you grind them up and then I don't know, man.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, why is it? Yeah, what is it about the little pits? If somebody could find that out, I would be interested. Maybe we can look that up. Interesting, interesting fun fact. So that's why we have grenadine, not maraschino
Yeah,
cherries. So
yeah.
that's where we're at right now. But as I finish this, we'll circle back and I'll have you describe how to make one so I can make one the proper way because I don't think this is correct, but it's still pretty good.
After a couple of them, it doesn't matter anymore, right?
Yeah, we'll see how many I get through by the end of this. So fingers crossed. Let's hop into it. What do we got today going into this week's episode? So thank you for everybody who joined in and listened last week when we talked about conspiracy theories. This week,
Yeah. So this week, we're gonna take it to the more superstitious, the more spiritual, if you would. I think it would be a good time to kind of go through some ghost stories. I have always been on the fence if I believe them or not. Um,
really?
or and so I have a pretty fun, not it's not scary ghost story, but I have a fun ghost story, and I figured, why not? Let's do ghosts this week. So
Let's do it.
um do is let's see, did you want to go first, or did you want me to go first?
No, go ahead. I'm interested to see what sort of trauma that you went through as a young Caleb that that now has brought to your attention, or you remembered that you had this story. So I have a bunch of stories. I also wanted to talk about a few other stories, but yeah, I'd like you to go first. See what you got.
Okay, so back in my youth, there was we were super interested in just like trying to find ghosts. I've always just like been curious and interested about them. And so one day we were just like doing some research, and we're just looking at like haunted areas around where we live. And
Yeah,
one of them, and I tried looking it up before this, I like can't find it anywhere anymore. I wonder if too many people have gone there and it was like a tourist, like too touristy. I don't know, but anyway, there is this old like asylum, a couple, like I would say about 40 minutes south of where we live, on this in this little area, kind of off the main drag. But I think it's like a job corps, or like one of those little like,
this is here in Bellingham, right?
no, this is down in I think it's Burlington or Mount Vernon. I always get the two mixed up. I can't keep up. I don't even try. So I just loop them both in as either Burlington or Mount Vernon. They're the same
That's
to me.
fair. Okay.
And so we heard about this asylum that got closed down because of just like unfair practices and all of the things that make a perfect ghost story a ghost story.
Yeah.
The truth behind it, I don't really know. Like I said, I couldn't find any information on it. But anyway, me, Spry Caleb in my youth, and the squad, we wanted to go check it out. And so we got in this like super just like ghetto, like just run down. Like I don't know how this van was still running. I'm serious. Like it has no business being on the road. Like this is just like this is it. This is its last journey. So we start driving down there, and like halfway down, we're like getting all hyped up on ghost stories and stuff. We get a flat tire on the freeway, and it just like just right out the gate. Here we go. Like we're having like this sort of like superstitious like intervention, if you would.
Yeah.
So we pull over. We get it takes us way longer than we need to get this thing changed because of just its current state.
Yeah.
Get back in on the road, and then we finally get down to this area,
Okay.
and we don't know where it's at. It's not anywhere public. Like I said, it used to be its own entity, but now there's like another company or whatever it is. It's kind of it was in front of it. So if you had the asylum, they built this entire like compound that was in use with like security, all of that stuff in front of it to just kind of hide it and get it out of like the public eye or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it very hard to find. So we don't know this. We have no idea.
Okay.
So we get there, and the security or whatever is just like, hey, like you can't be here, blah 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 blah. Well, my buddy that was driving, his last name is Hunt, or and no, sorry, yeah, and his like no, it wasn't. I'm trying to remember the name of his business because it worked so perfectly, but it was. So you've heard of the Blair Witch Project? That's like a
Have
thing.
I?
Oh yeah. His name is okay.
Blair
Yeah.
Hunt.
His name is Blair. Yeah,
Oh
Blair
my
Hunt.
God.
So I'm serious, and so this was his company van at that time, and on the side he had his company logo and his name, and so we get up to this gate, and they're like, hey, you can't come here, blah 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 blah. And we're like, no, it's fine, we got it approved. I don't know if you know who we are. We actually work for whatever the current like ghost hunting show on the Discovery Channel at that time was. Like we are the Blair Hunt Project. We are like we're a camera crew.
Blair Hunt Project.
Yeah, we're like we didn't want to like copy the Blair Witch Project, but we also just like wanted to kind of keep that same ambiance. So
Yeah.
that's us. This is the camera crew. We got our stuff here. We got approved to go through. I was wondering if you could let us pass. And the guy's just like, yeah, okay, that checks out. so we somehow bamboozle this guy. We get in, and we're like, we actually, so like, where is it? So the map doesn't really tell us, and we're trying to like set up early so we can like kind of build into this for like those special effects. He's like, oh yeah, you just go around here. Just like very, very helpful individual. And so we just go back, we find it finally, and it is just the spookiest vibes. Like as soon as we get there, the air just felt so heavy, and
explain that. Explain that to people, because I know what you're feeling. And here's the thing: I think everybody has had something so similar to that feeling, but that weight, that heaviness of an area that just like aggressively changes. Explain that feeling, because that's a pretty wild one.
I don't know. It was kind of like there's just like a weird like spiritual weight to it. It would be like I don't know if you were so if you've ever went like swimming in a pool, or just like in general, and you go to like the bottom of the pool, and like when you're a kid or whatever, you'd go down as far as you can, and then you just like try and push off the bottom to like catapult yourself up and out. That kind of bearing weight when you initially push up from the bottom of a pool, where it's just like really just like cumbersome. It felt like that, but like constant. And it was just like a really, really, I don't know, it was just dense. It just felt like we were just heavier. And it was so quiet. While we were getting in, it just had been raining the whole time down. And so the rain kind of like subsided, and it was just like a real foggy, like just real. We're setting this up to be like a perfect ghost story, but it was
Yeah.
just happening by itself. Uh, and yeah, so as soon as we like got out of the van, it just felt stagnant. There was no noise. Like it was just quiet. Uh, it just felt really heavy, and so we decided to first just go kind of scope out the area. So we come up to this like monolith of a structure. Like it is just big, like a full. We had no idea it was this big, and so we're like looking around trying to find a way in. And as we're like peeking in, you can just see like all of these like decrepit like beds with like the straps and stuff are all rusting off, and it was just nar. And so we decided, why not? Let's go in and see if we can't find these ghosts. So we go back to the car, grab some cutters, because we had gotten permission to, because they like couldn't find the key or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we go up to the front door, cut it, and as soon as we like open it, it just sounds like this like I don't know. It was just like this. It wasn't like a scream, but it was almost like a groan, deep within the building, and it was like the walls creaking, like if you were on a pirate ship, like you could just hear the walls were just kind of like, I don't know, under strain, but they weren't made of wood. It was made of cement, and so it was just like really, really unsettling. And so one of the people that we were with were just like, no, no, I will go wait in the van. And so they left. So now it's down to
No
just the
way.
four of
That's
us.
even
And so
scarier.
yeah, and so we like start going into it, just into the depths of this building, and um, I don't know, we heard a bunch of things. I didn't really see like anything really satisfactory to a ghost, but I could definitely feel that we weren't in there by ourselves, and it was really just like humbling and like, this is very unsettling. I don't like this, because it's like we were always just like being watched. Like there was just someone just out of eyesight, like out of eye shot, uh, whenever you would like go and look, and then the person that waited at the van, we just screams like a blood curdling scream, and so we like run out of this building, and as we like get there, if I feel like I just like passed through like a, I don't know, how I could describe it. It was like I walked through something,
Interesting.
and it was like really cold, and I was like my ears were like ringing or whatever, and just like really I just like had to stop, and I caught my breath because it almost felt like I like almost had the wind knocked out of me. And so like we got up there, and she's like, yeah, the person was just like, yeah, like I heard someone like say my name and like touch my shoulder, and it freaked me. And so I was like, I don't know what to say about that, because I felt like something just like passed through me. And then after that, we decided to leave in good faith that we were probably haunted for the rest of our life. And so that's like the only real ghost experience that I had.
Interesting.
What are your
Super
thoughts?
super interesting. Yeah, I mean, here's the funny thing is like I I completely believe in the supernatural. I think there are things that you see like people. It would be one thing if like a small group of people like had experiences,
Yeah,
right? But like I don't think you could talk to 100 people, and I guarantee you probably 90 of them have had some sort of experience
true.
in the supernatural, paranormal, scary, like something
Mhm.
happened to them either when they're older, when they're younger, and they all have stories. So I genuinely believe, I think ghosts, apparitions, uh, residual energy is real. I think there are things that
I
are
think so too. No, I agree. And I guess when I said I don't know, I don't think that the ghosts that we see or pertain on like TV and stuff are like what they are. Because I mean, well, it's like law of physics. Energy can't be created or destroyed, only changed. And so I feel like when
Right.
people pass over into the next, or that tragic event that happened in Japan when the reactor went down, and there was like a hive mind esque like group feeling of like seeing loved ones and stuff like that that weren't there.
Yeah.
I think that was just because there was such a massive release of energy that it changed over. So
Right.
I think that ghosts, to that sense, they're just like entities of energy floating outside of what we can see are real. But I don't know. I don't think that something's gonna haunt me or possess me or whatever. I don't know. So
See, I think that's where we may disagree because I have, and this is leading into a few stories. Now, I've had multiple stories, and I'm kind of similar to, like you in a way where I have to experience it in order to like fully believe something is there, something happens. And so a couple stories that I wanted to share. So uh, my wife and I, we were in Las Vegas, and if you've never been to Las Vegas, um, this guy Zach Baggins, who is the host of Ghost Adventures on a TV series, he's got a museum that housed some of the most iconic, scary, historic items or artifacts in the United States. Um, for example, he has a couple items of Charles Manson. He's got things that Ted Bundy. I think he has Ted Bundy's glasses. He's got a bunch of artifacts from like crazy dark serial killers that are that are well known around the world. But he's also got these artifacts. Specifically, he has a couple things from Dr. Kevorkian, who is he has the murder van, and back in the time, I forgot it was in the '60s, maybe '70s. He had this van. It was like almost looked like a Scooby Doo van, right?
yeah,
It was a big white van, right?
that little mystery machine, bro.
Yeah, but he had it was like people wanted to ideally they were sick, they wanted to die, they wanted to commit suicide, and there was always like this idea of like, hey, is that wrong? Is that right? If people want to end their life because they're terminal anyways, what's that look like? So he was a doctor, legitimate doctor, and he decided he was going to hook up virtually these machines in his van, and he ended up, people would willfully sign stuff and saying that they're wanting to die, and he killed a bunch of people. But Zach Baggins in this museum had this van
That's
in there,
crazy. That's just
and
crazy to
it's
think about. Sorry to
it's
interrupt. I was just
no,
like thinking
it's
out
no,
loud.
no. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about because I'm in this van. I'm literally looking inside of this van where hundreds upon hundreds of people have died, and it's just a really eerie feeling that you're touching something where
So much
crazy
loss that
murder
happened.
has happened. It's really when you and that's why when you talk about that feeling of like you feel that pressure on you, it
Hmm.
was like it was so much pressure built up, and you just like felt this really odd energy that was in that room. And they said that room, and keep in mind we were going through a tour at the time, so there's a few people. We had a couple
Got
of
it.
vip passes, so we got to go through these rooms that other people didn't. That was not one of the rooms. However, when we were going through the room, they said there's always these TV screens up in the corners of the room, and Zach Baggins usually comes on and they talk about what happens in this room. Well, they mention that people have had heart issues after being in this room.
Interesting.
Really weird, right?
Like,
We never experienced it, nothing like
huh?
that, but people have experienced legitimately cardiac emergencies, and so it was eerie. It was like kind of weird. It was like I don't know if that's necessarily true. That's kind of
Yeah,
fucking odd.
for sure.
We're going through. We're continuing the room now. Again, I am not. I'm very similar to you. I don't really. I believe it, but I just like I'm one of those things where I have to be able to see it
Yeah,
to like really believe that something is there.
100%.
So we go to this room, and I'm trying to think of there's a set of movies out that Ed and Lorraine Warren It's a story about Ed and Lorraine Warren, and I forgot the movie what it's called. I'm sure Julia or someone in the chat can tell me what the movie is. But there's a series of movies. It's not Annabelle. It's I can't.
Oh,
I
is
can't.
it? Wait, was it? Are they the Conjurings?
Conjuring. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
remember this. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, okay.
So I gotta light my cigar again here, guys. Sorry, chat. So yeah, so Ed and Lorraine Warren. It's about the Conjuring. Each movie in the Conjuring. Yeah, Julia, thank you. Um, hmm.
I should probably get on the chat too. Hey, I completely forgot. Anyway, continue.
It's all good. Just lighting my cigar. So Ed and Lorraine Warren is like crazy paranormal hunters, super well respected in this community. However, so in these movies, I think it's one of the newest Conjurings. There's a child in a chair and it rocks, and it's the rocking chair, and it's super haunted. Um, Lots of crazy things happen. This kid is going through an exorcism. It's fucking really scary. If you haven't seen it, watch it. But again, Zach Baggins at this museum in Las Vegas has the chair from the actual
Like
exorcism.
the movie or like
No,
the?
no, the actual chair,
Oh my gosh,
the actual chair, and he's
Ugh,
got the carpet. And you
don't
walk
like
in,
that.
I didn't like it either. But you walk in, right? You walk in, and you walk into the room, and there's a carpet that was the carpet that was underneath the chair, the same one in the movie. You're gonna go through, and you'll see exactly like the setting of the chair and the carpet and this room. So when you look at it, immediately you get this like really eerie feeling because it's really dark and scary. And then the chair, I shit you not, starts rocking. I
Stop,
don't know if it's a
bro.
prop. I don't know if they fuck around and do this or not.
Bro. I don't like that.
But it starts and it's like super super faint, like you can barely see it rock, but you know it's rocking, right? You have to walk past it, and we're walking past it, we're seeing it rock. I'm just like get this really like I get like little goosebumps up on this left side of my arm because the left side. I'm walking by, and the left side of my body is closest to it. We walk into this other room. There's this story of this lady who wanted to talk to angels instead of demons. I was like, all right, kind of a different take. They were telling the story about this lady. She developed these boxes that was able to speak out to angels. Over time, this lady decided to continue to talk to these angels, but she was getting other feedback from darker entities, which she didn't know because they masked themselves as angels. She started literally like deteriorating, like losing all of her weight, sunken face, sunken eyes over time. But she was like addicted to trying to talk to angels, but it just wasn't happening. So eventually, she ended up dying, and they got it all on tape, like the sounds and everything. They have those boxes, they have the speakers, the things that she created to try to talk to the angels on these boxes. As I walk in there, as my wife walks in there, I'm not kidding. So I think I have this necklace on. She has a little one with a cross on it. She believes this more than I do, right? So the chain that she had on, it was just a normal chain. It was kind of light, feminine, had a cross on it, hooked over. Like there's no way it could just like fall off, right? You'd have to like
Yeah.
take it off and then pull it off. Like, it would have to be significantly taken time to take off. She walked into that room. As she was in that room, bro, the cross fell off. Fell off.
Ah, just make a
At it
note for me. Don't
at,
like that
at
either.
Yeah, there was nothing, like it was literally hooked completely. Like there's no, like it was completely hooked around. There's no way it could have just fallen off. The necklace was on there still, just like this. It was just like completely wrapped around her neck, but the cross just fell off. There was no, like, like the little hook around the
Yeah.
cross to where it slide out
Hmm.
was still intact.
It just
Still
appeared
intact.
not on there.
It literally hit the ground and fell off right in front of her.
Mm. buddy. Okay.
So
One, I want to go here and check this out. Two, no,
yeah,
I don't like that. That sucks. I'm so scared of that.
bro. Here's
How did
and
that happen? Are you sure? Like, when
bro.
you like after you guys left, did you inspect it? Like, how did she notice? Did it just like what urge? Like, what
We heard it
encouraged
hit
you
the
to like
ground.
check?
We
You heard it hit the ground. Okay.
heard it because it was on cement. It was on some
Okay.
there was no carpet in it. It was all cement. It was like it's literally like a little mini castle the inside this museum. So you heard it. We heard it hit the ground. So immediately we were like, she like looked down and it was on the ground. Don't know why, don't know how. And we looked up at the tour guide and we like held it in her hand. Like Rachel, she grabbed it and she was like, and she's like, what happened? She's like, it just fell. And like all of the color from this tour, the tour guide's like fucking body, like her color just left her. Don't know why, don't know how. Like there's no reason as to why this happened. But Rachel was like, when I was in that room, I felt like this enormous amount of sadness. Like she got extremely sad, which is so wild to think about when you're in a
Yeah.
room and it just completely changes your entire mood in a matter of seconds. So we're in this room, and after we left this room, there's more in the tour. Super scary. There's this place in the basement where they have set up a bunch of um, little, what do you call those things when you're doing like a when you're going through and doing like ghost hunting, you have these little boxes that have little noise that they're like static, and then spirits can talk in them. Those speaker box talk box
Yeah.
things.
What are those? Yeah, those are just spooky boxes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we call those, spooky boxes.
So here's the crazy part.
Do you
Um,
guys have one of those on hand? Were they just handing them out? Like, here, take this spooky box just in case. Like, what?
well, here's the thing is is that when we were going through that, um, we walked into this basement and there's a little seance, little fucking bunch of weird shit on the ground, and that box was going right. It was all static. It was just going, 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 going.
Oh, there's one just running there. Okay.
Yeah. So you're like, so I was like, I said something, and it said something about it. Just yelled terror. It just yelled terror. Like it was so. There was a few of us down there, and we were kind of circling, walking around, and I said something, and it immediately clapped back and said terror, and I was like, it's kind of scary. Okay, so I got
Is
chills,
how-
ran up the
Yeah,
stairs. I was like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
bro, I got full
Um,
body chills right now. This is wild.
it's super scary. So we eventually walk out. Right, we're done with the tour. It's like a deep hour, right? And we could have went back for a flashlight tour, which means going back by ourselves with just a flashlight. After that, after the daytime tour, I was like, no, fuck that. I'm not going back. I don't know what's there. Hell
Yeah,
no. And I don't even really know my way
bunch of
around.
warnings,
Yeah, I was like,
right
I
out the
don't even
gate.
know my way around, but yet I'm not gonna do a fucking flashlight tour. So craziest part, that's not even the craziest part of the story. So do you remember back at the beginning of the story when I told you that people have cardiac
Mm-hmm.
issues inside that room?
Yeah.
The next tour went in as we were waiting for our Uber, an ambulance flies up into the back of the building. Someone had a heart attack in that room and got
No
taken
way,
out of the room. I can't make this up. Someone literally had a heart attack
bro.
in Dr. Kevorkian's room, literally as we walked out of the tour.
Oh my gosh. No thanks.
Scary.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
there's
big
no
spooky right there.
yeah. I was like, there's no way that happened. We are just sitting on the corner waiting for our Uber in Vegas to go back to our hotel. I think we may have been going to dinner. And fire truck,
Bro,
ambulance came.
I would have went to a church, bro. I
I
would
scrub
I
my
would,
sins of all what is negative.
dude.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Yeah, stand by for a second, Caleb. Entertain them. I got to open the garage door. Give me just a second.
Yeah. So I don't even know. That's actually quite terrifying. kind of low key want to go do that though. I think that would be super fun. What do you guys? Would any of you guys ever like go to Doctor Nono's freaking Emporium of Scary? I think it would be cool. But
It was
buddy,
it was yeah, it was one of those moments where I didn't really know what to do, but just kind of sit there and kind of take it all in as a holy shit, that might be legitimately real. So
have I have a question. Has there ever been a time when, forgive me, my ear itch. Has there ever been a time when you witnessed like a paranormal happening where
yeah,
you were just like convinced that this is it? Like this, there's no way that like I'm gonna get out of this, or you just like didn't know how to like what was gonna happen. Has something like that ever happened to you?
no, well, in that case, no, not necessarily, because I think I was still so confused on what I had saw that I didn't necessarily know how to process it. Um, so, for example, and forgive me as I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna make this drink the way I figure out how to know how I can. Um, I was younger. Well, I won't even tell that story just yet because that one was pretty wild. Um, so when I was married before, back when I was in the military, what happened? I was driving my at the time wife to work. She worked at a grocery store as a baker. She had to work at like 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, something like that. It was in the wintertime in December. Now in Oak Harbor, where it was, because I was that's where I was in the military at. Um, it's pretty dark. Like it's pretty dark at 4 in the morning in the wintertime. We lived in this backwood area where there's a bunch of trees, so it was actually like it was surprisingly like really dark. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
really, really dark. And
Yeah,
I was
like
driving there to work, right? I was driving her to work. And I dropped her off, and everything seemed fine. It seemed a little weird just because it was really cold out. Driving back, I was driving back in the woods, back home to our apartment at the time. And as I was driving back, in front of me, there's no cars. There's zero cars in the road at 4 in the morning. Um, I was going back, and my headlights hit hit eyes, like eyes,
okay,
on the road. And I was like, that's like weird. And I'm going slow because there's snow on the ground already. Um,
for
as I
sure.
get,
Pause. So sorry.
Mhm.
What? So when you saw that, like, what went through your head? So I'm sure at this time you just like there was just really minimal like superstitious sort of like experience, I guess. What was going through your head? I want to like dive into that because
Yeah,
like what yeah, kind of like what were you thinking?
yeah. So when I saw initially, I didn't know what I saw. Right, it was just I saw a glimpse of like it was just a glimpse of a reflection. Right, I come to find out it was eyes later on, but um, initially I got kind of spooked because one it was in the middle of the road, so initially I had to slow down anyways, right, because there's something in the road that I needed to get around. So when I didn't when I as I slowly got up there, I started to see an outline of a person, which then immediately I was like, "There's someone walking in
Yeah.
the middle of the road at 4 in the morning.
Why?
Weird,
Yeah. Who's doing that?
weird." Right. So I was like, "I don't know who did this. I don't know who's walking at fucking whatever fucking time in the at 4 in the morning." Also, I am using chopsticks to stir my drink, so I wanted to get
Ooh,
bougie. So
okay.
I'm gonna do that for you, just so you
A
have
man of culture.
just so you know, I'm trying to be extra cultured here. Let me drink and see what this tastes like.
Where are the glow sticks, bro? I don't see a glow stick.
I know because I don't have a big enough drink to do that, and we don't have a black light, so I'm gonna try to go away from that. But going back, so chat, so guys here, listen up, everybody on YouTube. What we have here now is 4 in the morning, a shadow or an outline of a human with really, really white eyes. I'm talking about imagine all you see is dark shadow, really white eyes, which are like now like piercing
Wait,
into my car.
like white reflection, or like the reflection that you saw was just white? Because I know
Mhm.
I've come across deer and stuff when driving in the backcountry and everything, and it's like a yellow, like really distinct, like this is like
These are
like
eyeballs, eyeballs,
oh, okay,
eyeballs. Like the whites of your eyes, I'm seeing, along with your pupils. I'm seeing
as a
everything.
as a reflection.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I see that, and
focused already.
I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer, and
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit! I'm like getting a little nervous, and I look, and now I'm getting a better picture of a visual of this person, and I'm seeing now, you know, those little short jackets that the girls wear, that puffy jackets with a little fur around the hood, right? You know what I'm talking about? Am I painting that correctly? They're little puffy
I,
jackets with
like a
the
little
fur on the hood, right?
little crop and stop the cold.
Yeah. So she's the whatever
Wow.
has that on. They also have a skirt on, one of the little
Okay,
kind of fluffy frizzy skirts. Um,
so it's a
and
girl.
she's,
What?
I so I'm what I'm seeing is now I'm seeing what I think to be a female,
Okay.
and she's not big, maybe even a child, right?
Okay.
I don't know. I can't see, other than I'm starting to get a picture that's more outlined of a female wearing this jacket with fur around the hood and and a skirt here.
And
So
massive white eyes.
what I'm massive wide eyes. So now what I'm doing here is driving up slowly to that thing, apparition, person, I don't know, right? As I'm getting closer, I've moved over to the left side of the road. Lights, my headlights are on high because I want to see this person or thing. And the only thing I see is them looking. They literally turn just their head and they look my direction. And all I see is white. I started to see like almost like mud or like dirt or dark around her face, like she's just really, really dirty. And so immediately now it makes me more nervous because now she's looking my direction. She knows I exist. I know she's there. And I I go past her. As I'm driving past her, I look in my rear view mirror. She's close. Close to the back of my car.
On the okay, I was gonna say, did you like stop to make sure she was okay, or you were just like, "This is a note for me, Godspeed." Like, uh,
Bro,
so
this
she's like
is
on the car, basically, like
she's
touching bumpers.
pretty much. Pretty much. And I am so terrified at that point. I get like, and it takes a lot to scare me. I mean, I'm not one to get really scared all that
Yeah,
much. But this one got me really questioning what the fuck that was. And so she's closer to my bumper. I drive a little bit faster, and my apartment is not far, maybe a block or two away. I'm driving. I pull up. I finally get to my place. I turn into it. As I turn in, I peer, and she, again, now I can only see kind of an outline because she's
yeah,
further away, but I still see her eyes, and they're just piercing, piercing eyes. And I pull up to my apartment. I get out and I run so fast into my house. I forget to close the door of my car.
no,
I run into my house. It was open all night. I got up in the morning. It was open. It was still open.
Jesus.
I get up into my room. I immediately get under my covers, and I say what you want. I was
Hey,
younger, but I'm telling you right now, to this day, I don't know what that was, but I was so terrified in that moment that someone that they were there. They could have been in distress. They could have. I don't know. I don't know where they were, who they were, if they were real, if they weren't real. But in that moment, when I passed whatever that was, and I drove, I was about 10, 15 feet away from where I initially passed her, and she was now right behind my bumper, was the
yeah,
scariest moment I've ever felt because I didn't know what to do.
yeah. Jeez. Okay. Dang, man. I'm not gonna sleep well tonight. I came in here big talk, like, yeah, ghosts are fine, not scary. Now I'm thinking, like, jeez, what if, what if one's just gonna get me now?
Yeah. What if all this talk is now they're gonna come your way and
Yeah.
they're gonna come haunt you? Isn't that? But I think that's just
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
that's so
That's not
crazy.
human. I would say I don't think that that's human, right? If it was a human, or if it was something of like, if it was like a genuine person that was in distress. Oops, sorry if that like gives some mic feedback.
No,
I think that, maybe they would have done like anything to just like signal you over, but the fact that they were just like menacingly standing right next to the
almost like
road,
taunting.
yeah, and then just to show up behind a car,
Like I fucking dare you to
like
stop.
yeah, like
It's like
realistically, like
fucking no, thank you, dog.
if it was like a normal person going behind a vehicle while that vehicle is driving, you would see like there would be a pretty good distance. But the fact that it's like almost touching the bumper, you saw a ghost,
Hmm.
100%. Some bad happens there.
I agree. And I think that moment, and I haven't I told a few people that story, but still
Mhm.
to this day, bro, when I'm explaining the story, and maybe it's harder to like picture that, but I legitimately see that girl again. I know
Okay.
exactly what she looks like. I know exactly what she did, and it still to this day gives me like chills to think about because she was absolutely terrifying. So I
Hard
had
pass on that.
there's yeah, and I mean that's just like, and that was when I was older. You know what I mean? Like that was
Yeah.
when I was a little bit older. But when I was younger, I mean, the moment when I was younger, we were at our old house. Our old house was haunted. I'm gonna tell you why. Is that there's two people that died in my house when I was younger that died in my bedroom that was once a hot tub room. It was like a built off piece that was turned into my room. But it was
So
supposed to be a hot tub room.
let me get like let me kind of like envision this. So the house had like, was it an exterior hot tub and then they just like renovated it, or was it like an interior one where they just like, pulled all of the that out and then just kind of put floor in? Because I'm like trying to picture that, what that looks like.
It was just it was an extra. It looks like they built off. It was like they built this extra room. That was a big room, and
Like a lanai, or was it like part of like the house?
it was part
Like
of the house. It was part of the house. It was just a built off piece of the house. And you walk downstairs. So this is how you walk into my house. There's my old house when I was younger. There was the living room. You kept walking forward. There's the dining room and the kitchen. Off to the right side, there's a hallway. You
okay,
went down the hallway. On the left side of the hallway was my sister's room. The right side was the bathroom. Then
okay,
there's like two steps, and then off to the left there was a door that went out to the patio outside in our backyard. That door was a normal sized door, but it had a window up top, so you could see like half of the door was a window, right? So you could see
hmm,
out. You could see outside the patio outside. Um, Going back to the hallway, down if you go down those steps, there was the laundry room, and then there was my room. So I was kind of away from everybody, right?
yeah,
It was me and my brother's room at the time.
bro, you are on your own out there, dog.
I was alone, naked, and afraid.
Yeah,
So
and this is where they died.
they died in that room. They
Okay,
died in that room in a hot
perfect,
tub. Two older
perfect.
people. Two older people. Don't know how they died in the hot tub.
Oh, I was just gonna say, do we know how that
I
happened?
don't know
Like
how. I don't know if they died in the hot tub or if they just died in that room that was
that
a
had
hot
a
tub
hot tub.
room. Yeah, I don't know that.
That's fair.
Um, so we hear constant knocking, shadows going through, like hearing shadows like just run by. Really, kind of just. Eventually, it's kind of a point where like we just knew it was there. There's this one time where we heard this like wild bang, like a bang so loud it felt like the house swayed. It
Yeah,
was super
like a
aggressive.
like an
Yeah.
earthquake
Yeah,
kind
and
of
we
sway,
both
or
Yeah, and we both, but the funny thing is, no one else heard it except me and my brother, because that both woke us up at the time, and we were waking up, and we were like, we kind of quietly like looked at each other like, what the fuck? Boom! It happens again, loud fucking boom again. We don't hear anybody else get up. We're like wide awake, like what the
Yeah,
fuck
like
is
what
this
is
noise
happening
happening?
right now?
Then we hear it outside, like the sound travels. Now it's outside, and we hear people fucking hitting the patio, hitting like we have a bunch of big ass trees outside the backyard, right? Huge
Hmm.
trees outside the backyard. So we run out our room, past the laundry room to the steps, right? Now
Hmm.
again, the steps, if you go to the right, you see that door with the window out. So we kind of like creep our heads, kind of like lean out to one side, right? To just kind of like
Hmm.
peek outside to
Yeah,
see if there's
see
something
what's going on.
outside, right? So what we see is there's a big ass tree right in about 40, 50 feet away from the door, right? Because there's a big patio, then there's the grass, our backyard, and there's a bunch of trees out there. So
Yeah.
there's a big tree. We see a shadow of a guy looking halfway out the tree, like peeking behind the tree, just kind of looking at us. Right? We don't see if
Hmm.
it's like a man with eye. We don't see any eyes. All we see is a black shadow. That's all we
Just
see.
the outline of
We,
them.
we see
Oh
him
my.
literally half his body leaning out, peering,
Go.
peering out the tree, out the window, or out the outside to the window. Right? What we do is we literally kind of take a few steps back and we jump over the two stairs, fucking slide into the hallway, and now we're running to our parents' room. Now
Yeah.
our parents are up the hallway right outside. So when you walk into our front door, immediately to the right is my parents' room. So we run over there, go to my parents, we say, "Hey, someone's outside." Right? Someone is outside making noise right now. We see him. They're leaning outside the tree.
Yeah.
My dad, if anybody knew my dad goes through and he's fucking he doesn't take no shit. So he
Yeah.
immediately grabbed. We have a he had a bunch of guns. Um, he immediately grabbed his one of his revolvers, I think, along with our dog, who was a German Shepherd, and he was an ex-police dog. He's
Nice.
ex-police. His parents are ex-police dogs.
So just like
Um,
a masterful like home defense situation, just about to
absolutely,
go engage this person of unknown
absolutely.
origin.
Hmm.
Cool. Got it.
So what happens next here is my dad grabs a gun, grabs a little fucking revolver, whatever, runs outside, immediately sees, and the guy is still the apparition, whatever, is still out there, still out there. My dad, the dog takes off directly after the tree.
Wait, so does your dad see it?
Yeah, he immediately
Okay.
runs and he sees it. And my dad he didn't give a shit at the
Yeah,
moment.
okay.
My dog
Okay.
immediately saw it as well and fucking bolted after it.
Okay.
My dad took his revolver and put like six in the tree. Just
Yeah.
loud booms.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you see this shadow bolt. I'm talking like you physically see him run
Okay.
at an alarming speed.
Okay.
And in it left of our yard, there is a field, and this field has pretty tall grass. It's our neighbors, but there's no fence in between. It's just our yard to
Yeah.
his fucking massive field. The shadow runs from behind the tree to the field. You see him hit the field halfway, and my dog is fucking
He's a big
bolting,
quick. Yeah,
chasing
he's a quick
after
boy.
him. And my dog loses him in the field, and nothing, gone completely.
Dang.
But it was the craziest, most visual shadow I've seen. It was from the tree to the field, into the field, disappeared, gone.
Did you guys like go and explore like when it was daytime and to see if like maybe some it was like a real person, or did you just say I'm done with this, let's
Yeah,
move sort of thing?
no, I think they lived there for quite a few more years after I was older. But yeah, they no, I didn't go back and I didn't go and look. I didn't see. You know, it's funny. I don't even think like I
Did your
remember.
neighbors wake up
No,
like
the neighbor that had
what?
the big field. Now his field was super far away from his house.
Okay, okay.
So, for example,
Because I
like
was like
his
someone
field,
had
and
to
then
hear that.
well, he probably heard guns. Someone had to have heard gunshots because we had a bunch. It was on the Mount Baker Highway in Bellingham, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it was on that strip. So we had neighbors everywhere. So they had to have heard shots. Had to have. And the neighbor's house was like a good 200 yards away from the field. It was a big field. It was really, he had his yard and then the field where he mowed every once in a while. It was fucking 4 or 5 feet high at one time. Um, but yeah, nobody came out, nobody checked, nothing happened, no cops were called.
Huh.
It all just kind of went away.
Went away.
And to that day, it was crazy. We still, every once in a while, we still hear tapping, we still hear scratching, we still hear noises when we were younger, and eventually we just like, it wasn't necessarily like attacking anybody, but it was just like hovering the whole time.
Yeah. Jeez. Wow, bro. You've had. How could you have had so many experiences, but just like I don't know. I wish I had more to talk about as far as like just life experience. That's crazy. You're one with the spookies.
No, well, no, and that's the thing. Still to this day, I still like. I don't know if I want to. I still want to like. I guess I just want to be more aware when I see one because you know what I mean. Like I think every time when you like see one, it's so fast. Like you don't know really how to process what you saw,
Yeah.
and so it's like I want to. It's almost like I want to be prepared to see it, to
What do
see
you think?
something.
What do you think? Sorry to interrupt. That would look like. So we have like modern cinema and all of that stuff where like you get like a mainstream looking ghost. Like what do you think if you could describe to your best ability like real world, what would a ghost look like? Because it obviously won't look animated like that. Like I don't know. Like that's one thing I've always just been like, how do I know I'm looking at a ghost? Like what if I've seen so many already, but they look like humans?
Right.
Or like what would malicious energy look like in a tangible form? Like what does that look like to you?
They
Because I
probably
feel like it
fucking
would
terrifying.
no, but like let's just like visually, like yes, you would feel terrified being in its presence, but like what does that visually look like?
I don't even know if you could put it in. I don't even know you could put that. I don't know. Like I don't know what. I have no idea what it would even remotely look like. Evil, not evil. Are there evil ones and not evil ones?
Well, or that shadow. What so when you saw that shadow, what about that shadow looked did it look different than like a shadow that you cast in the sun? Like
No,
it's just it's so fascinating. Does it look like a shadow like say like if you look at your shadow in the sun, but you just like
yeah.
stand it up? Was it three-dimensional? Like was it flat? Like
No, it looked like a full on shadow as if you were standing. Like
so it looked flat. It looked there was like a flat like
yeah,
let's not do that.
it looked
That's
like
just
an
like
actual
wild.
person.
So it looked like just like someone that like it looked like a person, but all
Yeah,
I
I don't
don't
even
know.
know how to explain what I saw. It was just one of those things where when I saw it, and I didn't know else how to react other than just like running scared because that's what I did when I was
Yeah,
younger.
honestly,
I don't know if I had the
like,
mental capacity to do that, but that's like that's just is one of many that have happened, and there's so many other like crazy topics, and I feel like this needs like a part two because there's so many other things that I wanted to speak about. Also wanted to talk about the Eastern State haunted history. I know Julia, you live there. I didn't know that there's this place called the Eastern State Penitentiary that was the first. It first opened its doors in 1829, and now it's a tour. But there was suicides, there was murders, there was 100 plus prisoners that escaped. Every one of them was caught except one, and there's a
hmm.
really crazy story on this story. But there's so many things that I also wanted to talk about on top of what we've been
Well,
talking about as
let's
well.
do it. Why not? Let's do it next week.
Yeah,
Let's
we
let's
can
run it.
continue. We can
Let's
continue
run it
this.
back.
And I wanted to talk about more about stuff like that. Also, like I had there's a moment in time where I was hanging out with a bunch of people, and we're at the Bayview Cemetery. And I know this is a topic that we want to discuss. The Bayview Cemetery, if anybody hasn't looked it up, I encourage you to look up the Bayview Cemetery in Washington State. It is one of the most haunted cemeteries in the U.S.
Hmm.
Has a couple different covered a couple different history pieces of history in there that you would be interested to see. But I was there one day and I was walking through, and I don't know if anybody else has, but I think it is fantastic to be able to walk through a cemetery. There's something very calm and peaceful about it,
Yeah.
in a sense. If you've
Yeah.
never done it, it's really weird. But we're walking through it, and we were walking through it at night, and I was taking pictures. I had a camera. I think I had an old Canon camera, Rebel T6 or
One of
not
them
T6,
little.
but T3, T2. I don't know, right? Something back in the day that may have been top of the line back then. I don't remember. Anyways, there's like 10, maybe 12 people that were with us, and I was walking behind everybody, probably about 20 to 25 feet behind everybody. We were being pretty quiet for the most part,
Yeah.
and it was like 1, 2 in the morning, 2:30. And as I was walking, and grant there, when I say this, there's nobody behind me, nobody behind me. As I was walking, taking pic, I was just like randomly taking pictures, right? On the left side,
Hmm.
right side, in front, just trying to
Sure.
see if there's anything. And as I was walking, in between my steps, right, I was just walking normal step distance apart. In between my steps, I hear a step. So imagine
Ooh.
you walking,
Yeah.
and
Like someone's pacing you,
someone's
right?
behind. Yeah, someone was
Ugh.
behind me, and they took a step, and they stepped in between my steps. So I heard it as if someone was coming up close to you, right?
Hmm.
Immediately when I heard that, I stopped and chills went up my whole body.
You didn't turn around, did you?
I turned around and I took a
Oh.
picture immediately, and I don't believe I caught anything that I can remember. All I remember is that when I was walking and I took that step and I heard a step in between, I was pretty scared
Yeah.
because I didn't know what was behind me.
Did it? Did anybody else hear it, or were you
No,
like
because
the only one
they
that?
were 20 plus feet away from me. They were ahead of me. No
Okay.
idea. The step hit in between mine, and like if you guys like think about you just walking, and you're walking alone, you can hear your own footsteps.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, imagine you hear a footstep in between yours. You immediately think someone is behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately,
100%.
when I heard that, without hesitation, my whole body went up in chills. My whole backside, like something was hovering over my
Like
neck,
close. Like
very
you
close.
have to be close because it's grass. You can't like footstep
No,
noise doesn't.
it was on cement because there's
Oh,
pathways,
okay.
right?
Got it.
There's
Got it. Got it. Okay.
pathways, and it was crazy. We were walking right past Angel Eyes when this
Mm.
happened. So Angel Eyes is one of these is one of the stories in the Bayview Cemetery. It's a big, massive statue of a lady, and the rumor is that she bleeds from her eyes, and there's more to that story, but there's a big rumor that she is known to bleed from her eyes, which is actually not far from. It's like right down the pathway of the deathbed, which is also another one of the crazy
I
phenomena of
had
the story.
actually, now that I think about it, I had a pretty good deathbed story. It wasn't nothing like, I don't know, wasn't something like super crazy, but I definitely yeah, because I went to the same cemetery. I've been there as
Yeah,
well, and I unfortunately didn't get to see the angel weeping blood, but I did have a pretty interesting experience on the deathbed because you're supposed to
yeah,
see your death, right? Is that how that goes?
yeah. So whenever you lay on the deathbed, it's just really. I guess let's paint the picture for them, right? It's like literally a big, tall, maybe about 4 feet tall slab of cement
Yeah.
with a big name on the side. And
Hmm.
if you lay on it, the rumor is that or myth is that you're supposed to be able to see your how you die. So how did your story go?
I think I'm gonna save it. Honestly, I think I feel a
Okay.
part two coming on, and
Yeah.
you know, I know that I didn't do a whole lot of like outer worldly encounters, but I think that I might save that one for next week, if
That's
that's okay
good.
with you. I
Yeah.
mean,
I think it's gonna be good. I think there's more. Again, there's more to these stories, and we will continue. But I do like this topic
same.
and
I
talking about.
honestly like. I don't know. Chat, YouTube. We would love to know your feedback. What would you like to hear more? More conspiracy focused or ghost stories? Because I've had fun. Like it's crazy to hear experiences or I don't know. I feel like it's I don't have words, but it's wild to think about. I never knew those about you, Ray Ray. I never heard about the freaking shadow of the woods.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So
there's been a few things that's just weird, man. I don't even know how to explain it. Just weird shit happens, you know. My wife has had some crazy experiences. Maybe we get her on to talk about some of her experiences. Maybe she'll be willing to share some of those because those are pretty. She's got some pretty scary ones. She's woken up in the middle of the night screaming at the top of her lungs, like a blood curdling scream, saying that there was someone above her
mhm.
on multiple occasions at one of our older houses that you could put in with like the house looked like the house from the first Blair Witch Project type shit. So like kind of scary. But I would like to continue to do a part two and see if there's any
Mhm.
more stories that we can talk about. And what I would do here, chat, if going through here, I think it would be huge to be able to get your input
Yeah,
on this. And I think if you go to YouTube, if you go to the Mixtape Effect on YouTube, and post in the comments on this video on what you want to see or if you've had any experiences. And
yeah.
if any of them are good, I think we should read them out on our next episode and talk about those. And maybe we can kind of start to unravel some of the things. Maybe we find a story that's BS. Maybe we find a story. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you guys try to put a BS story in there to try to fool us. I don't know. The more comments, the better. I think we get people to engage in this, and
Well,
I'd love to learn about people that are watching the podcast.
and here's a thought. Here's food for the thought. I would love to know what your opinion is, Ray Ray, and everybody watching us on
Yeah.
YouTube and Twitch. Is lucid dreaming actually an outer body spiritual experience where you are seeing a ghost?
Mm. Ladies and gentlemen, let's leave you out on that cliffhanging topic. Caleb, thank you for hanging out with me, and running this podcast as always, guys. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Caleb and I will be doing a giveaway when we hit a certain amount of subscribers, guys. I want to assure you, it will not be a weak ass gift.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun surprise, guys. We need to get to. We have a lot of we have a long ways to go. We just started this podcast, but I do enjoy doing this with you, Caleb. I think this is extremely entertaining. Hopefully, you guys enjoy it as well.
Mhm.
We'll continue this. Maybe next week we get you back in the studio in the garage, and we can do this in person. But I had a lot of fun.
Bye, friends.
Take care, guys.